Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. God damn it, I fucked up my own intro, mumble mouth and shit. It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, back with another reaction video. Today we're gonna react to the tragic fate of Tupac's killers and how Diddy is involved in all this. I hope I hope they make sure to cover their grounds when they say this shit, because you have to put allegedly here. Y'all know y'all can get sued. But anyways though, shout out to my boys at Music Vibe, man. They stay showing love, man. They showed me love on the last video, on that Outkast video I did. They showed me love last weekend. Shout out to them. Man, you already know they show that love over here. We gonna show that love right back. Make sure you go subscribe to Music Vibe, run them likes up, run them views up, tell them I sent you and all that. Most definitely, man. Then my boys over there, shout out to them. They doing good work over there. I fucks with it. I fucks with it, gang. I fucks with it. Yeah, shout out to Music Vibe. Anyways though, let's get right into it. Alright, disclaimer. Most of the information from this video was taken from the autobiographical book of p.diddy, whom in the previous year was accused of murdering Tupac. Whether to believe that or not is up to you to decide. Alright. Apparently I can't read. So alright, so they got the disclaimer up. As y'all can see, this is all alleged. Even though y'all know me, I'm a Tupac head, and I say fuck everybody. If you involved, fuck everybody. especially Diddy. Especially Diddy. Diddy, you can. Well, I would tell you what I think, but you probably might like that shit. You freaky ass nigga.
After Tupac's murder, p.diddy and his crew left the white Cadillac together with the pistol, which was placed on one of the tires. When they returned to the hotel, they drank and smoked weed as if nothing had happened.
Yeah. Okay, they're moving some suspects. We don't know what's going on. Hopefully, Tupac Shakur is not dead.
Where is Tupac?
We don't know. That's supposed to be the...
Next day, after they had spent a fun night, they picked up the Cadillac, but the pistol was already gone. As p.diddy says, MTV started airing mass news headlines with the title p.diddy's nephew. All of this news came to light when Suge Knight mentioned p.diddy and Orlando Anderson in an article about Pac's murder. p.diddy stopped checking the news and called Suge Knight a snitch. After Tupac's murder, shootings broke out in Compton after the Southside Crips were suspected of being involved in the rapper's murder.
I think in the next 10 days, we had 3 people murdered and I want to say 11 shootings.
Yeah.
Keefe claims that Suge Knight himself was involved in these shootings as he wanted to find Orlando. Keefe knew where the boss of Death Row was at, and he wanted to pay him a visit. He headed there with his men. One of them was dressed in a UPS uniform. They went up to Suge's studio, but he did not open the door. If he would have opened the door, it would have very likely been killed.
I ain't gonna go into the detail like you try to get me waxed.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The conflict
Nigga,
with Death Row didn't die
times, you
down.
dumb
One
fuck.
day, policeman Reggie Wright Sr., who happens to be the father of Death Row's bodyguard, Reggie Wright Jr., paid p.diddy a visit. He was worrying about his son and told Keefe, "You kill my son, you asshole, you will pay for it." After that, Keefe understood that he needs to be ready for everything, since, after all, people in Suge's circle was clearly in an aggressive mood. 3 days after Pac's murder, Zip met up with Keefe at a cafe, and it was at that moment that Puffy called and asked, "Was it you?" According to Keefe's claims, he stayed quiet, but Greg Kading says that he confessed about the deed to Puffy.
And Puffy asked him, "Man, is that us? Was it, what just happened out there?" Keefe's like, "Yeah, that's us."
p.diddy had a close friend that goes by the name C-Red, who's basically Keefe's right-hand man in his drug business. And it is this very person who was initially supposed to be one of the accomplices in Tupac's murder. However, he chickened out, and Keefe changed to another car, to that very Cadillac. And generally speaking, a few weeks later, C-Ray's next-door neighbor got killed. The dude wasn't from Southside, but he grew up in their neighborhood. He worked as a Compton Unified School police officer and also volunteered with the Compton Police. The guy was on his way to work to drop his daughter off at school. He put his daughter in the car, then he walked around to get in the vehicle. A red car came around the corner. They shot him 35 times with an AK-47. That hit was meant for C-Ray. They got the wrong person. After that failed hit, C-Ray decided to start working with the police and became a confidential informant. C-Ray had information stating that Suge was paying $100,000 for Keefe and Orlando's heads, which he informed the drug lord about. Keefe said, "Let him know that I would kill that bastard for free." However, Keefe was nevertheless interested about where C-Ray got that information from. He suspected that C-Ray had slipped and got involved in some sneaky stuff. Then the raid on Keefe D's home took place, but he'd managed to escape prior to the raid. The search took place without him being there. Then, many were subject to searches, including Death Row. It would seem like there should have been shootouts between Keefe's crew and Death Row, but no. They even had a business deal between them. The whole thing is because then Suge Knight was faced with the threat of imprisonment after violating his parole after footage of him kicking Orlando like a football surfaced online. Suge had to turn to Keefe D's nephew for help. Orlando, who was with his lawyer at the time, called Keefe and told him to come and bring with him 2 guns. As Keefe recalls, it was a very uncomfortable situation, as it seems that, not long ago, they nearly killed one another. And not long after, they were sitting together in a small room discussing a deal. And what was the deal? Orlando would state in court that Suge didn't kick him. This testimony would cost Suge $60,000. Keefe D, Orlando, and their sidekick met up with Puffy in LA. At that time, they were armed, since war was raging in their neighborhood. Anderson received gunshot wounds from an AK-47 in both of his knees. For that reason, they were always on the lookout. In addition to that, Puffy hadn't paid anything for Pac's murder, even though half a year had passed already. According to Keefe's words, Puffy was highly agitated throughout the meeting and was finding it hard to speak normally. He invited them to a party which was taking place the next day at the Peterson Automotive Museum after the basketball game. The next day, they met again. There, Puffy told them that there were many feds around and that it was best for them not to meet up. Keefe asked whether they needed his protection today because there were also Bloods at the party. Puffy refused, believing that the feds would have their backs. But unfortunately, that did not help protect Biggie at all. After Biggie's murder, many started suspecting Keefe D because they believed that he killed him because he wasn't paid for Pac's murder. While it is true that he was not paid, Keefe actually hung out with Biggie a few times, and Biggie and his circle were on good terms. Because of that, Keefe was subject to another raid, and they found an Impala car. Biggie Smalls was shot at from this very car model. However, at that time, every other celebrity had such a car in their garage, so the police couldn't find evidence that it was the same Impala.
Fact.
What's more is that it was of a different color. However, they were still able to throw Keefe in jail after listening in on his phone calls where he discussed selling cocaine, and he was caught red-handed. At that time, Keefe was on the run. But the police already knew everything from C-Ray. They knew that Keefe was acquainted with Puffy and Zip, and so on. Keefe was devastated that he was turned in by a close friend. He was sentenced to 6 years behind bars. And during the time of his sentencing, Baby Lane, aka Orlando Anderson, died in a shootout. He was with his friend Michael Duro next to a car wash, where they met 2 guys who owed them money. In the end, Orlando pulled out his gun and fired at one of them. Orlando was fired at in return, and then Michael shot at the guy who shot at Orlando. And in this shootout, 3 people had died. Orlando died on the spot. Michael lived, but he was arrested and received a life imprisonment. During that time, Lane founded his own label company under the name Success Records, and you can even find a cover for his album online.
In a cold sweat, I shouldn't do it. But see, my siege needs a new fix. I take the consequence if I'm caught up with the substance.
Let's talk a little bit about Big Dre, who happens to be one of the main suspects of those who shot at Tupac. After all, he was sitting with Orlando in the back seat where the fatal wounds were shot from. He founded his own label company and even released an album which includes famous rappers. The most interesting part is that the name Snoop Dogg appears on the record. That's quite the news, guys, and it seriously took me by surprise. Who would have thought that one of Tupac's killers features in his album none other than Snoop, who was Pac's friend? And the description of the album says the following: this album is dedicated to all the fallen soldiers. And in this list, we can find the name Baby Lane, aka Orlando Anderson. So it happens that Snoop took part in an album that was dedicated to Orlando Anderson.
That's crazy.
What a discovery.
That's
big
crazy.
bosses, 100,000s we tossing up. Cute faces, big butts, chalk 'em up.
All right, this isn't about Snoop, and we'll go back to Big Dre, who truly was big. Due to his extremely large weight, he faced a lot of issues with his health at the beginning of the 2000s, and in 2004, he passed away from health-related issues. In 2007, Keffe D met up with Puff Daddy's former stylist. The stylist informed him that Puff had paid Zip money for the murder of Pac, but Keffe didn't receive a cent. With that money, Zip supposedly opened up a nightclub in New York. Zip has been deceased since 2012 when he supposedly died of cancer. Keffe D was yet again under the watchful eyes of cops after Biggie Smalls' mother filed a lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles. At one of the preliminary hearings, the judge stated that if the city was to lose the lawsuit, then the payment for losses and damages could amount up to $400 million, which is apparently the estimated amount that the court found suitable for the damages. For that reason, they were obligated to solve the case. In the end, Greg Kading took over the investigation. At the beginning, David Mack and Amir Muhammad were the suspects in Biggie's murder. However, after a long investigation, it became apparent that they were not involved in the murder. A little later, they went after Keffe D, who refused to give them any information. At that time, the feds were investigating Keffe D and other members who were involved in drug dealing throughout the entire country. So they were not only able to sentence him for life behind bars, but they were also able to involve his family members. For that reason, Keffe decided to recount everything he knows, including what happened on the 7th of September, 1996.
I seen the bullet going Suge head. I thought he was dead.
So Tupac's trying to jump in the back seat. And what Suge doing? Just ducking?
After that, in 2015, Terrence Brown, who was the driver of the Cadillac, was found dead in Compton at Glow Gang Worldwide. Him and the store owner were killed. DJ Vlad asked why Bubble Up, aka Terrence Brown, was in question after Keffe D's confession, to which Greg responded by saying he tried, but nothing worked out, and the Las Vegas Police Department was not interested in it. And that same year of 2015 was the release of the movie Murder Rap, inside the Biggie and Tupac murders. The story was constructed based on Kading's investigation, in which he recounts all the details of the murders of the legendary rappers and who is responsible for them. Keffe D then released his own book, where he talks about his life and about the music industry, how he got to know Diddy, and so on. And he began giving interviews to various YouTube channels in which he mentioned that he regrets getting involved with the boss of Bad Boy Records. He also regrets getting involved in drugs and taking part in Tupac's murder, even though he thinks that Pac got what he deserved, because no one can lay a finger on his family.
I told you I beat 3 of the baddest entities in the world. United States government, fucking cancer, and the streets.
But, as we all know, not long ago, revenge took place. And on the 29th of September 2023, Keffe D was arrested.
And my goal here today is to walk you through our investigation and what led us to the indictment of Dwayne Davis, also known as Keffe D, for the murder of Tupac Shakur.
For those who want to get to know the autobiography of Keffe D, I recommend you watch his criminal history. Hit the like button as it helps us promote the video. Subscribe to the channel. See you soon.
Alrighty. So yeah, man. Fuck everybody. Fuck all them niggas. I just want justice for Tupac, man. It's been so fucking long, man. As a Tupac fan, we just want to know who did it, bro. So we can piss on your grave. Nah. Anyways, though, let's just go about doing it for this one, man. I'll see y'all in the next video. Till then, peace out. Jesus Christ.